Hi again. I'm going to go live one more time this week. We're talking about sugar cravings. This is the last in a three-part series that I'm recording for you guys. The first day I talked about possible causes of sugar cravings, what will cause you to crave sugar, and that was helpful for a lot of you, and I'm really glad. The second day we went on a field trip to Walmart and to a natural food store. Unfortunately, I could not record any live videos inside, but I tried to give you as much information as I could, and I still need to upload the pictures for you, okay? Today I want to talk about some solutions, and I want to go a little bit beyond what we might typically hear in a blog. You know how you see those blogs, usually they're clickbait, top 10 ways to beat sugar cravings, and usually you don't find anything particularly new. So today I'm going to talk about a few of the obvious things with a twist, and then some things that you may not have heard of about how to tame a sugar craving. Okay, first of all, before I even add any of this, I want to say that, well, this kind of goes in with our number one reason, or our number one way to quell sugar cravings, and that's just to eat real food and eat real nutrient-dense foods. And I found that I don't crave sugar nearly as much anymore. I had a little bit of sugar yesterday, and I found that I just wanted to keep eating, and I wanted to eat fast, and I was tired right after I ate. So that is kind of an indication of something we would call spleen qi deficiency in Chinese medicine, and I will talk a little bit more about that at the end. I think this is something we should all know about. Okay, so just simply eating real food, right? Sometimes things are simple, but they're not easy. What I mean by real food is like real nutrient-dense foods. Okay, so I want you to not think about what not to eat, but things you can add that have a lot of nutrients that will nourish your body so you don't even crave sugar in the first place. And this can take a while for some people. I find that when I tend to crave sugar, it's when my body is starving of nutrients. If I'm not eating enough, which does happen, especially during the day, we get busy, especially women, we get really busy, and we just grab the first thing in sight, which may not be the most nutrient-dense food on the planet. My battery is telling me it's running low, but I think we'll be fine. So you just want to make sure you add as much real nutrient-dense food as you can before you think about, you could even take this first step, and that might solve a lot of your problems right then and there. Number 1.5, remember yesterday I talked about smoothies? Have your favorite go-to smoothie. One of my favorite flavors is probably, I don't know if I have a favorite, but I like chocolate and like mocha, chocolate mocha. So I have like a half a banana, and I'll blend that with almond and coconut milk combined. Unsweetened, don't use the sweetened version, because there's a lot of sugar in the sweetened versions of nut milks. And I'll add a little bit of coffee, maybe even a little bit of like espresso powder, and like an organic cocoa, like real cocoa. And then I'll just blend that. I don't put ice in it, just like a little bit of frozen banana kind of gives it a really nice creamy texture, and it works. It's fantastic. Okay, number 2, limit alcohol intake. Oh yeah. So alcohol actually, it's a myth that it's a sugar. You'll hear a lot of people, even health coaches, even educated health coaches will say alcohol is sugar. Not really. Like if you drink a shot of vodka, it's got such a low amount of carbohydrates in it that it doesn't really qualify as sugar. And the same thing even with wine. It really doesn't have that much sugar in it unless it's one of the cheaper brands, which has more residual sugar in it to cover the taste of the bad wine. However, I'm not saying that that's, well, alcohol is different. It's processed by your body entirely different than sugar, and it can also it can cause fat gain for other reasons, but it's not because of the sugar content. The reason I'm saying it, the reason I'm telling you that it's a good idea to reduce, I can't talk today, your alcohol intake if you have sugar cravings is because your blood sugar is actually lowered when you drink alcohol. It's directly absorbed through your small intestine, and the liver deals with it first because it's saying, oh my God, alcohol, it has this come into our body, and now we have to clear it before we even think about digesting other foods, including carbohydrates and including sugar. So if you're just sitting around and you start drinking wine at around 3 o'clock and you're just sitting around, a lot of the extra food could actually end up going into fat storage. So anything else you eat could possibly go into fat storage, and you might find yourself craving more food. This is why people get hungry when they drink alcohol, including sugar. So limit your alcohol intake. The other thing is to keep your gut happy, and you might have noticed I've been posting a lot about gut health and wheat in particular and how it affects your gut. I'm not going to get into that right now because we could really get deep into this, but we're talking about sugar cravings today, so I'll skip that. Keeping your gut happy will also help keep your serotonin levels up, and that will cause you to not crave sugar as much. So a sugar craving it comes down to your brain wants all those feel-good chemicals, right? It wants the serotonin, it wants the endorphins, it wants the opioids, it wants to feel good, dopamine. And if you feed your brain with what it needs by keeping your gut health healthy, and read more of my blogs about gut health. I won't get into that here. And we're going to talk about exercise, how that could also help you get those feel-good chemicals in your brain so you don't have to rely on sugar. Okay, so that's number 3, keep your gut happy. Number 4, you've heard this one before, but I'm going to say it again. Sleep. Sleep is underrated. I don't know how many times women need to hear this, but we'll all say it as many times as it takes. There's a lot of women that they think they're special and they can get by on 5 hours of sleep or 4 hours of sleep, but it's not true. You'll survive, but there will be other things that will be sacrificed in order for basic survival. One of them will probably be your face. You will age if you don't get enough sleep. I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. I'm not interested in becoming in premature aging just because I feel like I want to prove that I can get by on 3 or 4 hours of sleep. Plus, I need my brain to function for me. Let's see, my laptop wants to download some software right now. It always wants to do this right when I'm in the middle of a live video. Okay, so sleep. It's boring, you've heard it before, but I'm going to say it again. Skimping and sleep will result in more sugar cravings and will probably lead to something we call spleen qi deficiency in Chinese medicine, which I will talk about at the end. So stick around till the very end because I have kind of a treat for you guys. All right, so sleep. Make sure you get enough sleep. Number 5. Find your own unique ways to manage stress. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to get into lotus position and meditate and om your way into stress relief. Although I am a terrible meditator, I'm finding that meditation is indeed useful for a lot of things. For example, manifesting the things that we want, those sorts of things. And also stress reduction, but there's a lot of ways you can reduce your stress. There's a lot of ways you can manage stress. So if it happens to be playing basketball, go play basketball. If it's knitting, go knit something. Whatever it is, find that thing that you love to do that helps reduce stress for you and do it every day. And that will help you reduce your sugar cravings. Okay. Number 6, you've heard this one before, exercise, and this ties in with the gut health piece, where I told you want to make sure that your brain is getting enough of those feel-good chemicals on a constant basis. That's one of the reasons why exercise works so well. It increases your levels of serotonin and what else? Definitely dopamine, definitely endorphins, and probably a whole cocktail of really good chemistry that your brain will just love. There's a second reason that exercise, at least for me, works really well to quell sugar cravings. When I work out, especially in the morning, it sets the tone for the whole day. Or if I know for sure that I will be working out that day, I am less tempted to indulge in junk food or sweets because to me, psychologically, it feels like I don't want to go through all the effort and work so hard and just undo it. And I know that's a little bit of black and white thinking because you could easily reverse that and say, oh, well, I didn't go to the gym today, so I might as well just order a pizza. It's not really good to think in black and white like that, but if you can use it to your advantage, if it keeps you in line, working out every day. I think it's mostly about the brain chemicals, because too much psychology can actually backfire for a lot of people. Trying to rely on willpower can actually backfire for a lot of people. So if you make sure your brain and your hormones are happy, you're probably going to be a lot better off. Okay, number 8, and you've heard this one before, keeping your, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Keep your blood sugar levels stable. You want to keep your blood sugar levels even. This usually involves, well, don't skip meals. People still do this, right? Even though health coaches and healthcare providers repeat this until we're blue in the face, people still don't get enough sleep, they still don't work out, and they still skip breakfast. And I can't figure that. I can't find any good reasons why, except maybe for intermittent fasting, like the whole bulletproof thing. I'm not going to get into that. Some people do really well on having the bulletproof coffee and then eating at 1 o'clock, and that's fine. I'm not knocking that. If it works great for you, do it. But they are concerned with blood sugar. They do talk about that, and part of the reason why the bulletproof coffee works is because it has enough fat to sustain you and teach your body how to burn fat for fuel. But that's another whole thing. All I'm trying to do here is say, make sure you don't get those crashes, because of course obviously it's going to cause you to crave sugar. And that's just a reminder, a lot of women do that. We get busy with taking care of what needs to be taken care of, and then we just forget to eat, right? Raise your hand if you've done that, or say yes in the comments below if you've done that. Quality protein and healthy fats with each meal. You've heard that. I know you've heard that before. If it's really a problem for you, if you've been told by your doctor that you have problems with blood glucose and you can't seem to release weight, you can also test your blood sugar. So you can do that, like diabetics do. You can get a little glucose testing kit and do that to see what's happening with your blood sugar. Okay, here's one you might not have heard before. This has more to do with sleep, like eating carbohydrates at night, so your brain produces the serotonin at night so it can sleep, so you're not craving sugar the next day. Okay, and what I'm talking about with that is like good carbohydrates, like root vegetables, in particular sweet potatoes, yams are good. There's some other starches that are good. You can look on chriskresser.com. He's got a whole list of the kind of carbohydrates that are best eaten at night. Okay, also tryptophan. Help with the conversion of tryptophan into serotonin. Actually, no. Vitamin C and vitamin B and zinc help with that conversion. And it also helps with the conversion of certain thyroid hormones. So these things will also help you in one way or another, if it's not direct, quell your sugar cravings. Make sure that you're getting enough B vitamins, magnesium. Chromium is also good, and there's a form of chromium, and I'll go ahead and paste it in the link below, the kind of chromium that's best for this. It's not chromium picolinate, but I'll post that along with pictures of the food that I found on my field trip yesterday. And, okay, that was number 9. And number 10, check your progesterone levels. Make sure your progesterone levels aren't too low, particularly if you're over 40, because low progesterone can actually create sugar cravings. So check into that. It's a good idea to get a blood test and see what your hormones are doing, and see what's, just the regular blood panel that you get from your doctor can tell you some things about what is happening to your body and reasons why you might be craving sugar. So that's always a good idea. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of ideas from Chinese medicine. Remember before when I talked about spleen qi deficiency and kidney deficiency? So kidney and spleen organs aren't necessarily the same as what you hear in Western medicine. In Chinese medicine, spleen qi deficiency has to do with digestive imbalances, and I'm not talking about indigestion here. I'm talking about metabolism, how we convert our food into energy. So that has to do with digestive enzymes. It has to do with how our intestines absorb our nutrients. It has to do with how well those nutrients get into our cell walls, how well insulin is working, ATP, how ATP is created from mitochondria. So we could be looking at mitochondrial function. We can be looking at methylation. A lot of these things that functional medicine people look at, you could translate to spleen qi deficiency. And spleen qi deficiency feels meh. It feels blah. It's pretty much how I felt yesterday. I was tired after I ate. I felt a little bit brain foggy. I felt like I just wanted to sleep. I wasn't in the mood to do anything. If I wanted to eat food, it was probably going to be something quick and that would get those feel-good chemicals back into my brain. So I was experiencing, because I don't eat a lot of sugar. This could also happen if you do eat a lot of sugar. If you have spleen qi deficiency, you're less likely to make good decisions when you go shopping. So that's another thing with spleen qi deficiency. The kidney organ system in Chinese medicine has to do with hormones, which I briefly touched on here. I talked a lot about neurotransmitters, but hormones also play a key role. Okay, so I'll talk about that yet again at the very, very end, so stick around to the very end. There are some herbs in Chinese medicine that you can take. I know Evergreen Herbs has something called Equilibrium, and that is actually something that can be used for diabetics to actually get their blood sugar levels stabilized. There's a few more herbs that are really good. I think I talked, and supplements. I talked about chromium already, and I'll give you the link to the type of chromium that is best to use in this case. What else? The NADA protocol. So auricular ear acupuncture can be used. I've used this in my clinic before to help people with sugar cravings. Actually, any kind of cravings, and this is really commonly used. It's almost like an institution. A lot of people learn this NADA protocol that aren't even acupuncturists, so they can help people overcome substance abuse and other types of addictions using a protocol. It's five little tacks that you put in your ear, or seeds. They don't hurt, so you don't even need to use needles. So that is something you can consider if you have access to acupuncture or you're close to me. Okay, so now we're at the end of this video, and here's my treat or my bonus for you. I have a mini course called Reclaim Your Energy, which I normally sell for $47, and if you're watching this video, actually I'm going to just post the link below. If you click on that link within the next, and you buy this within the next 2 days, you can get that course, the whole course, for $27. And it's really cool. I was really excited when I created this because it talks about 3 Chinese medicine patterns and how they affect you and how they could affect your cravings for sugar. And this is also going to affect everything else that women get frustrated by, like such as energy and fitness levels, how much body fat you're carrying, all those things, thyroid hormones, all of it. So the first part is called liver qi stagnation, and that has to do with stress. The second is spleen qi deficiency, and it actually explains, I go into depth in this course, explaining what it is and what it feels like. And I went into detail explaining strategies that you can do to get yourself out of that state, out of that funk. Okay, the third one is the kidney system, and that is closely related to something like chronic fatigue syndrome or adrenal fatigue syndrome. And that is if you are a little bit deeper with your energy loss. These are some ways and strategies that can help you get out of that hole. You want to get out of that as quickly as possible. Again, I was really excited to create that mini course, and I'm offering it to you just for the next 2 days. If you click on the link below, you can get that mini course for almost half off. Instead of $47, it's going to be $27 just for the next 2 days. Okay, I don't see any questions, you guys. I hope that this little mini series helped you in some way. It'll probably turn into a blog, and that you have fun with it, right? Have fun with it. All right, so don't forget, check out that mini course, and I will see you guys in the group, all right?